Welcome back, MTG Joe here. This video is kind of out of the blue because we got some news and we got some stats and it's kind of what we do on the channel, but wanted to kind of go on a little rant if you would entertain me. But we just got news from Wizards that standard rotation will now be moved from every 2 years to every 3 years with the release of Wilds of Eldraine. So this means we are still in for a lot of Fabled Mirror Breakers, Wandering Emperors, Kamigawa, so all the sets that we kind of highlight here in Stride, Crimson Vow, Midnight Haunt, Neon Dynasty, Streets of New Capenna will not be rotating. So Sheoldreds, all those cards that have been dominating Standard for so long are going to be remaining for an additional year. Alchemy, for the few people who still enjoy that, they will continue a 2-year rotation, which even to that, like, Alchemy was supposed to be the fixed digital version of Standard where they, do timely erratas. That's gone basically to default. So now they're an off-cycle rotation, so I don't know what the hell's happening there. But with this announcement, like, we've had the Pro Tour, it's going on. The finals are taking place right now. It's 2 Rakdos-based decks. In the finals, Rakdos, like Invoke Despair, that's going to be hanging around, all these cards. And I was listening to the broadcast yesterday. Frank Karsten was running some numbers, and the Rakdos deck had basically one of the highest win rates ever after day 1 of the tournament. The only thing that would bet it was the Jeskai Storm deck with like Goldspan Dragon that went like 61%, but this had a 59% win rate. The top 8, pretty much all of coverage with like the exception of a couple ramp decks, and then Autumn Burchett on the Orzhov, mostly mono-white mid-range deck, has been red-black, Blackleaf Cliff decks. And there's just really not a lot of diversity in the format. Moving towards this now 3-year out mark, we're going to see these cards that have been dominating and just really oppressing the format continue to be around. So something I was actually trying to pull up, and unfortunately from MTG Melee, where they're posting the actual tournament results, for the Pro Tour, they put off the stats. So we can't see the win rates, unfortunately. We can see the individual deck scores, but overall win rates, match breakdown, stuff like that, we can't see. We do, however, have the standard, or the second chance Pro Tour qualifier. So this is only for Pro Tour competitors, those who kind of had a bad showing at the Pro Tour. This is their chance to kind of redeem themselves and then get an invite to Pro Tour Barcelona. So these are very good players that are playing in this event. We had 126 players. Like Andrea Mingucci, a lot of like top Corey Burkhart, a lot of names across. Making Pro Tour to begin with is pretty good. But this is what really stood out to me in the stats. So it's 6 rounds, it's 7 rounds to top 8 cut. Of the decks, Rakdos represented 34 of the 126 decks, 27% of the field. If we look at like Grixis midrange, which is basically got some elements of it. We have Rakdos Reanimator as another deck, Grixis Reanimator, Rakdos Breach, just a lot of red-black or like Sheoldred-based decks. But the thing that stood out to me most, 27% of the field came in the most recognized deck, biggest target on the deck, how will people adapt? Including mirror matches, where in a mirror match, you're always going to get 50%, so you expect it to drop the overall win rate. They're at 64%. I actually looked at this after round 3. It was at 65. It got partially lowered because there's only, like, most of the top decks that are left in the tournament are Rakdos. So there's just inherently more mirror matches to suppress the actual win rates. 63% win rate. It's almost 64% win rate for the most well-known deck to be actually targeted. And then if we look at down, not a single deck that's been played to like some volume of decks has actually posted above 50% win rate. Grixis midrange, 42%. Esper Legends, 46%. Mono White midrange, which was supposed to be the deck that was good against these Rakdos decks, 48%. Grixis Reanimator, Rakdos Reanimator, sub 50%. Domain Control, try to go bigger, try to go over the top, 50% win rate. The Rakdos Breach deck, 41. 5-color Ramp, 35. Grixis Singularity, 30%. Mono Red Aggro, 42%. The only deck that's got a positive win rate, there was only 3 decks, Azoria Soldiers. They went 8 and 5, so very small sample size. 5-color Control, very small sample size. But it's just absurd that like their decision to go 3 years, they want more stability in the format. Well, the format gets stale. We've been playing these same red black decks for so long. It's the same deck basically. You have your standard red black deck, you have your explorer red black deck, you have your pioneer red black deck, you have your historic red black deck. It's the same like 80% of the cards, just plug here and there, slight variations to each deck, but becoming more Rakdos the Gathering than anything else. So I really think that there needs to be a ban. I think addressing kind of a couple core cards. Fable the Mirrorbreaker needs to go. Shieldred potentially needs to go. Invoke Despair needs to go. Probably the Wandering Emperor needs to go. I think that would shake things up enough. You might want to also look at Atraxa in some of these decks. It's very easy to hardcast or cheat this card into play. It is going to be kind of the threat. But I think at the very least, Fable the Mirrorbreaker's time. Honestly, even Bankbuster is a card. It's just that glue card, Fable the Mirrorbreaker. I think both those cards can be something to target, but something needs to be done. Something needs to be to shake up this standard. But yeah, I just wanted to rant. Just kind of looking at these stats is just really discouraging trying to brew in standard when you just kind of get outvalued by everything in terms of the Rakdos deck. And with another year of this, like, it's one thing as a content creator, it's another thing just as a person who enjoys playing Magic. It's very discouraging where like there's an objectively best deck and everything else you're doing is kind of, well, it's not good enough. Everything's 2 for 1, 3 for 1, snowballing out of control. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you are a fan of this 3-year rotation, if you hate it, if you're impartial, and let me know if you do think bans, what you think would happen. In any case, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great one, and let's catch the end of the Pro Tour. Thanks.